My girlfriend of 6 years rejected my proposal in front of my entire family and laughed. Why would I marry a broke loser like you? I didn't argue. I just walked away. 4 years later, I'm living a dream life in Dubai with my fiancée, and she keeps messaging me, begging me to come back, claiming we're soulmates. I never thought I'd be sharing this story online, but after the past few weeks, I need to get this off my chest. My friends keep telling me this belongs on Reddit, so here we are. 4 years ago, I was living a completely different life. I was 28, working as a junior accountant at a small firm in Columbus, Ohio, making about $38,000 a year. Not exactly living the high life, but I was working towards something better. I had a modest one-bedroom apartment, drove a 2010 Honda Civic with a dent in the passenger door, and was head over heels in love with my girlfriend Sarah. Sarah and I had been together for 6 years, since our junior year of college. She was everything I thought I wanted in a partner: gorgeous, social, ambitious, and way out of my league, or so I thought. She worked in digital marketing for a mid-sized agency and made about $48,000, which was more than me but not by much. At least, that's what I told myself when she'd make her little comments. Looking back, the red flags were everywhere. She'd constantly make remarks about money, about my career, about our lifestyle. When are you going to apply for better jobs, Mark? My coworker's boyfriend just bought her a new iPhone. When's the last time you bought me anything nice? I'm getting tired of splitting everything 50-50 when you make less than me. But when you're in love, you rationalize everything. I thought she was just motivating me to be better. The worst part was how she treated me around her friends. She'd introduce me as Mark, he's still figuring out his career, with this patronizing smile. Or she'd make jokes about my car, my clothes, my apartment. Don't mind the mess, guys, Mark's still living like a college student, always said with a laugh, like it was just playful teasing, but it cut deep every time. I should have seen it coming, but love makes you stupid. The proposal was going to be perfect, at least in my mind. I'd been saving for 10 months to buy her a ring. Nothing extravagant, but it was a real diamond solitaire that cost me nearly 4 months' salary. I maxed out my credit card to make it happen, but I thought she was worth it. I planned it for my mom's 60th birthday party because Sarah had always said she wanted our engagement to be surrounded by family. My mom loved Sarah, or at least she tried to, and I thought it would be romantic to make it part of a celebration that was already meaningful to our family. The party was perfect. My parents had rented the community center at their church, and about 30 family members showed up. Aunts, uncles, cousins, my 2 younger siblings, everyone who mattered to me was there. Sarah seemed to be having a good time, laughing with my cousins and helping my mom in the kitchen. After dinner, when everyone was relaxed and happy, I stood up. My heart was pounding so hard I thought people could hear it. I'd practiced this speech in the mirror for weeks. Hey everyone, can I get your attention for a minute? The room quieted down, and I could see my family turning toward me with curious smiles. My sister Emma was already pulling out her phone to record. She later told me she knew what was coming. I turned to Sarah, who was sitting next to me looking confused. Sarah, we've been together for 6 incredible years. You've made me a better man, and I can't imagine my life without you. I got down on one knee and pulled out the ring box. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. Will you marry me? The silence that followed felt like it lasted forever. Sarah stared at the ring, then at me, then looked around at my family. And then she started laughing. Not a nervous giggle or a surprised laugh, a cruel, mocking laugh that made my blood turn cold. Are you kidding me right now? She said, loud enough for the entire room to hear. Why would I marry a broke loser like you? The room went dead silent. I could see my mom's face go white, my dad's jaw clench. My little cousin Jake, who was only 12, looked confused and scared. But Sarah wasn't finished. She stood up, and I'll never forget the look of disgust on her face. Look at this ring, Mark. It's tiny. Look at your life. You're 28 years old and you make less than a Target manager. I've been waiting for you to get your crap together for years, but this is just pathetic. I was still on one knee, frozen in shock and humiliation. Sarah grabbed her purse from the table. What exactly can you offer me? A lifetime of struggling to pay rent? Driving that piece of garbage car until it falls apart? Never being able to afford a vacation or a nice dinner? She shook her head like I was the most pathetic thing she'd ever seen. I have standards, Mark. I want a man who can actually take care of me, not someone I have to carry financially. She looked around at my family, who were all staring in horror. Thanks for dinner, Mrs. Rodriguez. Sorry you all had to witness this disaster. And then she walked out. I knelt there for what felt like hours but was probably only 30 seconds. 30 people who loved me were watching me get destroyed by the woman I thought I'd spend my life with. I wanted to disappear. I wanted to die. Finally, I stood up, closed the ring box, and said, well, that was unexpected. Anyone want cake? My family tried to rally around me. My mom was crying, my dad looked like he wanted to punch a wall, and my siblings were ready to key Sarah's car. But I was numb. Completely, utterly numb. I helped clean up, made small talk, and acted like everything was fine. Inside, I was falling apart. That night, Sarah texted me, maybe this will finally motivate you to become the man I need you to be. Call me when you've figured out how to be successful. I blocked her number that same night. The next few weeks were the darkest of my life. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, Couldn't focus at work. The humiliation was eating me alive. I kept replaying that moment over and over, the laughter, the cruel words, the look of pity on my family's faces. But somewhere in that darkness, something shifted. I realized Sarah was right about one thing: I did need to change my life. Not for her, but for me. I'd been coasting, accepting mediocrity, making excuses for why I wasn't moving forward. That night, as brutal as it was, showed me I was capable of more. I started researching opportunities abroad. I'd always been good with numbers and had been teaching myself data analysis and programming in my spare time. I discovered that Dubai was actively recruiting international talent, especially in fintech and business analytics. The salary ranges were incredible, easily triple what I was making in Ohio. Plus, no income tax. I spent the next 8 months preparing like my life depended on it, which, in a way, it did. I got certifications in financial modeling, data visualization, and business intelligence. I networked obsessively on LinkedIn, reaching out to recruiters and professionals in Dubai. I applied to over 100 positions. The rejections piled up for months. But finally, I got a response from a major investment firm in Dubai, Al Rashid Financial Group. They wanted to interview me for a senior business analyst position. Starting salary, equivalent to $105,000 USD, plus housing allowance, plus no taxes. It was more than triple what I was making. The interview process was intense, 3 rounds over video calls, a technical assessment, and a presentation I had to prepare. But I nailed it. When they offered me the position, I didn't hesitate. I gave my notice in Ohio and started planning my move. Leaving everything behind was terrifying but liberating. My family was supportive but worried about me moving so far away. I promised to visit regularly and stay in close touch. Dubai was overwhelming at first. The heat, the pace, the cultural differences, the pressure of the new job. But I was hungry in a way I'd never been before. Every successful project felt like proof that I was more than what Sarah had seen in me. I threw myself into work completely. I was the first one in the office and often the last to leave. I took on extra projects, volunteered for challenging assignments, and made myself indispensable. Within 18 months, I was promoted to senior manager. By the end of my second year, I was making $165,000 equivalent and leading a team of 12 analysts. The lifestyle was incredible. I moved into a beautiful apartment in Dubai Marina with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the water. I bought a BMW 5 Series, nothing too flashy, but a far cry from my dented Honda Civic. I was traveling, dining at amazing restaurants, making friends with other expat professionals. But the best part wasn't the money or the lifestyle. It was meeting Priya. I met Priya at a networking event for international professionals about 2.5 years after moving to Dubai. She's a cardiovascular surgeon from Mumbai who had moved to Dubai around the same time I did. Brilliant, funny, kind, and absolutely beautiful. But what struck me most was how she talked about her work, with passion and purpose that reminded me why I'd fallen in love with analytics in the first place. We started as friends, grabbing coffee after networking events, exploring Dubai together on weekends. She was different from anyone I'd ever dated. Success hadn't made her arrogant, it had made her generous. She volunteered at a free clinic for migrant workers, spoke 3 languages fluently, and had this way of making everyone around her feel valued. When we finally started dating 8 months later, it felt natural and easy in a way my relationship with Sarah never had. Priya celebrated my successes without trying to take credit for them. She supported my ambitions without making me feel inadequate about where I was starting from. And most importantly, she made it clear that she was with me because of who I was, not what I could provide. 6 months ago, I proposed to Priya on a private beach in the Maldives during a long weekend trip. The ring cost more than my car back in Ohio, but more importantly, she said yes before I even finished asking the question. She cried happy tears and told me she would have said yes if I'd proposed with a ring pop. Which brings me to why I'm writing this. 3 weeks ago, I got a Facebook message from Sarah. I'd unblocked her on social media about a year ago. Honestly, I'd forgotten she existed. But apparently, she'd been keeping tabs on me through my posts. Photos from Santorini, work achievements, pictures with Priya at various events. The message said, "Hey stranger. I've been seeing your posts and it looks like you're doing amazing. I always knew you had it in you. Maybe we could catch up sometime? I'd love to hear about your adventures." I didn't respond. 3 days later, "Mark, I know things ended badly between us, but I think we both needed that wake-up call to grow. I've been doing a lot of therapy and self-reflection, and I realize I was way too harsh that night. You were always such a good guy, you just needed the right push to reach your potential." Still no response from me. The messages kept escalating. "I miss what we had. You were always so thoughtful and caring, and I took that for granted. I've been dating other people, but honestly, none of them understand me the way you did. I saw you're engaged. She seems nice, but does she really know the real you? We have 6 years of history, Mark. That has to count for something." I made a huge mistake that night. I was young and immature and didn't appreciate what I had right in front of me. And then, last week, we're soulmates, Mark. I know you feel it too. One bad night shouldn't erase everything we built together. I'm willing to make sacrifices. I could even move to Dubai if that's what it takes. I've changed so much. I'm not the shallow person I used to be. The final message came yesterday. "I know I hurt you terribly, but what we had was real love. I helped make you into the successful man you are today. Don't throw away our connection for someone who doesn't have our history. I just need one chance to show you how much I've grown. I showed all the messages to Priya, expecting her to be upset or concerned. Instead, she read them, started laughing, and said, "Wow, the audacity is actually impressive. Should I be flattered that your ex thinks I stole her soulmate?" Then she kissed me and went back to planning our wedding menu. That's when I decided to respond to Sarah. I kept it direct. "Hi Sarah. I appreciate you reaching out, but I'm not interested in reconnecting. I'm very happy with my life and my fiancé. I wish you the best, but please don't contact me again." Her response came within 20 minutes. "You can't be serious. After everything we've been through? I made you who you are today, Mark. If I hadn't pushed you that night, you'd still be that pathetic guy making $35,000 in Ohio. You owe me at least a conversation. Don't be ungrateful." That message made me angrier than I'd been in years. The sheer entitlement of claiming credit for my success while simultaneously reminding me of how she'd humiliated me was breathtaking. I called my sister Emma to vent, and she told me something I hadn't known. About a year after I moved to Dubai, Sarah had shown up at my parents' house asking for my contact information. She'd apparently told my mom that she'd made a terrible mistake and wanted to apologize and make things right. My mom had politely told her I was doing well and didn't want any contact with her. Through mutual friends, I also learned that Sarah's life hadn't gone according to plan. After we broke up, she'd jumped from relationship to relationship, always looking for someone who could give her the lifestyle she felt entitled to. She'd gotten involved with a married man who strung her along for 2 years, then dated a guy who turned out to have serious gambling debts, then moved in with someone who became controlling and emotionally abusive. Her career had stalled too. She'd been laid off during the pandemic and was now working as an assistant manager at a retail store. She was living with 2 roommates in an apartment smaller than the one I'd had when we were together, and driving a car older than the Honda Civic she'd mocked me for having. I don't share this to gloat about her struggles, honestly, I feel sorry for her. But it does make her soulmate messages ring pretty hollow. I blocked Sarah on all social media platforms and told my family to let me know if she tried to contact them again. I also gave Priya's friends a heads up in case Sarah tried to reach out to her somehow. My mom said something that really resonated with me. "Mijo, some people don't recognize what they have until it's gone. But that doesn't mean you owe them a second chance to hurt you. You've built something beautiful with Priya. Don't let ghosts from your past haunt your future happiness." She's absolutely right. What Sarah did that night wasn't just rejection, it was calculated cruelty designed to make me feel worthless in front of the people who loved me most. She didn't just say no to my proposal, she tried to destroy my dignity and self-worth. But here's what Sarah fundamentally misunderstands: I didn't become successful to prove her wrong or win her back. I succeeded because I finally valued myself enough to pursue my potential. The man I am today isn't someone she created through her cruelty, he's someone who emerged despite it. My success belongs to me. The late night studying for certifications, the networking, the risk of moving halfway around the world, the years of hard work building my career, that was all me. Sarah's contribution was showing me what I didn't want in a partner and motivating me to leave a situation where I wasn't valued. Priya loves me for who I am, not for what I can provide or what potential she sees in me. She's wildly successful in her own right and doesn't need me to fund her lifestyle or dreams. When I told her the full story about Sarah and that night, she said, "That woman did you the biggest favor of your life. If she hadn't shown her true colors, you might have married someone who saw you as a project instead of a partner." Our wedding is in 4 months. It's going to be intimate but beautiful, on a rooftop terrace overlooking the Dubai Fountain, followed by dinner at one of the city's best restaurants. My family is flying in from Ohio, Priya's family is coming from India and London, and about 50 of our closest friends will be there. The whole celebration will cost more than I used to make in a year, but every dirham is worth it because I'm marrying someone who would love me just as much if we were exchanging vows in my parents' backyard. I used to think Sarah was the love of my life. Now I understand she was just a painful lesson I needed to learn. Real love doesn't tear you down to build you up. It doesn't humiliate you to motivate you. It doesn't keep score or make you feel like you have to earn affection through achievement. The love of my life is the woman who sees my worth even on my worst days, who celebrates my wins without trying to take credit for them, and who makes me laugh when I'm stressed about work. The love of my life is someone who chose me not because of what I could become, but because of who I already was. Sarah can keep her messages about soulmates and second chances. I already found my person, and she's nothing like the woman who called me a broke loser in front of my family. To anyone reading this who's been publicly humiliated or made to feel worthless by someone who was supposed to love you, sometimes the worst thing that happens to you becomes the catalyst for the best thing. That devastating night 4 years ago was the push I needed to stop settling for less than I deserved, in love and in life. And to Sarah, if you somehow find this, thank you. Thank you for showing me exactly what I didn't want in a marriage, and thank you for freeing me to find someone who actually loves me. I genuinely hope you find happiness, but it won't be with me. Update: since posting this story, I've received hundreds of messages of support. Thank you to everyone who shared their own experiences and encouragement. Sarah found this post, probably through mutual friends, and sent me a long email calling me vindictive and claiming I manipulated the truth to make her look bad. She threatened to reach out to Priya to tell her side of the story and warn her about the real Mark. I forwarded the email to Priya, who responded by booking us a couples massage and saying, "I'm just grateful every day that you dodged such a massive bullet. Should we send her a thank you card?" Some people never change. I'm thankful I did. TL, ex humiliated me during proposal, called me a broke loser. 4 years later, I'm successful in Dubai with an amazing fiancée, and my ex won't stop begging me to take her back.